In the last video you seen me looking at the companion bin and everything underneath here. This video, as I said, I'm going to focus on the rear quarter panel alone. So it's kind of filming mixing it up because it interlopes with each other, so I've tried my best to keep it separate so that it focuses on one panel or one area at a time. So, rear quarter panel replacement. This is going to come right off and I'm needing to prep all around here and test fit the new panel and get it welded in. As simple as that, but it takes a lot of prep, it takes time for paint to dry, you might need repairs underneath, so it can be very time consuming. The other side, which I done, taught me a few lessons on techniques, so I'm going to share them on here, so hopefully it helps someone. And yeah, I learned a few different orders and ways to do things that basically, hopefully, it'll make it easier on this side. So yeah, I'll start by getting this cut out. Stinks, that's why I wear the mask. I was careful at some of these bits because these bits are being kept along the top here and obviously along by the B-pillar. So that gets me a rough bit to get in. I can then remove some of this flange here, this flange down here, and I can get marked up how far up the new panel goes. So you will see the companion bin and the closing panels have just appeared. This was covered on my previous video. If you want to see that, you can go and check out that in that video. But it made sense to do this work while the quarter panel was off because getting in here to do the welding is near enough impossible when the quarter panel's on. So yeah, that's all done and dusted. It just means now I can focus solely on the quarter panel. So removing this lip and the one on the B post here, normally you would drill out spot welds and then pick away the flange. What I found on the other side when I was doing this, pushing and drilling the spot welds, this is quite flexible, this panel in the middle, see it? And it was leaving this rail here not as flat as I'd like. So I changed my method. I've got one of these mini grinders, great by the way. And basically I just ground back slowly the spot weld and peeled it off bit by bit, and it worked out so much better than drilling. So I find I prefer that way for this anyway. You've got a bit more control over the grinder, and yeah, I'm just going to go and do all the way along the spot welds. Same method. So, a couple of repairs to do here on the B-pillar, just fill them in with weld to give them a bit of strength, because obviously the quarter panel laps around here. So I'm going to go and do that off camera, and I'll come back once I've done that and tidied it up a bit. Right, I'm now happy with this repair. It took way longer than what I was hoping or expecting, but you kind of have to expect that sometimes with restorations. On the plus side is I was blowing some holes in it. If I'd put the panel over and started welding, I would have just been blowing holes once the panel was on, so I'd rather fix it now and have to take the panel off and fix it then. So always stay positive. Anyway, it's now ready to get its coat of weld through primer. The plan for the rear quarter panel. So this side here that goes onto the B post, I'm going to drill holes all the way down, about an inch apart, about 8mm, because these will be plug welded onto the B post, because the spot welder can't get in to physically do that, not my spot welder. So yep, drill them. I'm going to then go around all the flanges, get this paint off, and as I said in the previous video, it's really important to get all the paint off, because when it comes to spot welding, if there's the slightest bit of paint, then it won't go. Even the weld through primer I use, you can see at times it's giving the spot welder a few sparks. You'll see that when I put it on, because it's not the cleanest. It still works, but the sparks shouldn't really be there for a clean spot weld, but it's a trade-off between having protection between the two layers. So once I've got all that paint off, I can put the weld through primer on the areas that are going to be sealed, just to protect them, and then I'm going to flip this over, give it a quick sand, and I'm going to spray this with flame red, because it'll be easier to do now than when it's in the car. So I'm going to let that dry for a bit. It's not the prettiest, not meant to be, it's there to protect the metal, that's it. And then come back to this panel at least when this is dry.